Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Farah, aka Dr. Laurent. Today, I want to talk to you about all things business, right? I just released a newsletter a little bit ago, and I discussed the 5 must-dos before and after starting a business as a nurse. There are so many nurses out there who are venturing out into entrepreneurship, so many nurses thinking about starting a business, but not quite sure how to start a business and what type of business to start. Or maybe you are watching and you are a nurse that's new to business, a new entrepreneur, not really sure how to attract clients, how to market yourself, your services, your product, how to price out things, all those, things that come with business. So today I'm going to break down 5 tips that you must do before starting a business and also after starting a business. So if you are watching, let me know where you're watching from, what city, what country, drop it in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. If you happen to be watching the replay as well, drop any comments or questions that you may have. Okay, so let's get into it. For those who don't know me, I've been a nurse for over 20 years. I'm the founder of International Nurse Coach. I'm a nurse career coach and career architect for new nurses, helping them land their dream job in less than 90 days. Started this business 4 years ago. And I am excited to announce that my course, Nurses Making Business Moves, is going to be launched in October 1st, at a university, the University of West Georgia. So this 8-week course is going to be available, and it's going to break down everything that you need to know as a nurse, as you're building your business, starting your business, or wanting to grow it. Okay, so let's get into it. Step number 1. I talk about this all the time. Build a personal brand. So you need to build a personal brand before you start your business and also after you start your business. Okay. Now, what does personal branding mean? To break it down for you, it's truly, what do you want to be known for? When someone thinks of you and your business, because really it's all in the same, especially if you're a nurse that wants to build a service-based business. So maybe a consultant or a coach, right? What do you want to be known for? What impact do you want to make? What problem do you solve? Right? And when someone thinks about you, what are they thinking? What do you stand for? What are some of the values that you demonstrate in your daily interactions or in the work that you do? That is all part of your personal brand, right? So, how do you even get started, right? So, I would literally say, start writing those things down. Particularly if you want to start a business, right? And you're not sure what type of business to start, I always recommend service-based businesses for nurses. So maybe you're currently working full-time. And that's what I did when I first started my business. I was working full-time in a leadership position and still building my business, right? I literally started my LLC, which is the limited liability company. Within 4 days, I had it good to go, right? So in the span of about 2 weeks, I had my LLC, my EIN number, which is, what you can apply to get your kind of business number, as you could say. And then, did a couple other things like paperwork, got business insurance and that type of stuff. A form of payment that clients can pay, right? So Stripe is a good one because it's international. And then, of course, opening up a business bank account. It's really that easy. I don't have my book near me, but I outline all this stuff in the book that I wrote called Nurses Making Money Moves, A Nurse's Guide to Starting a Business. You can find that on my website, nursefair.com. It breaks it all down, right? So, and I also talk about personal branding in the book. so that you can have a better idea of how to start to build your personal brand. So there are two ways, right? So one way is kind of what you manage, so how you want to be seen. So one easy way is visually. When you're in person or online, how do you want to show up in that personal brand, right? So for me, a lot of people know me as someone who's bold, energetic, very talkative. I like to have fun, whether I'm educating or doing events, even in my coaching, right? My clients are constantly laughing during our sessions because I want to keep things fun. And that's part of the values of my personal brand, right? And also integrity and that type of stuff. So list out your values. What do you want to be known for? What do you do? What problem do you solve? Right. So for me, I help new nurses with career coaching, helping them with mindset and confidence so that they can be successful at landing their dream role. Right. It has a lot to do with confidence building, mindset, and removing that scarcity mindset away so that they know that they can confidently land their dream role, right? I actually had a new graduate nurse reach out to me. Didn't work with them personally because they couldn't afford to work with me. But great news, I have a course for that that's going to be released next week, From New Nurse to Dream Role. But anyways, they messaged me and said, hey, thank you so much for creating all this content. I also had a consultation call with them, and they said, just from your content, your inspiring words to say to pursue the emergency department, they'd landed an emergency department position, right? So this is why I do what I do. Even if clients don't work with me directly, I am still making an impact with the content that I'm creating, the information I'm sharing. And that to me is important, right? So that's number one, build a personal brand. And that is ongoing. Your personal brand is everlasting, right? It's how you make people feel, how people perceive you. Okay. So let me know if this is helpful. Put any comments or questions that you may have about personal branding. This is a topic that I love talking about because we don't talk about it enough in healthcare, particularly as nurses. I did not know anything about personal branding when I was a nursing student. They don't teach you this in nursing school, not in a master's or doctoral level programs, right? So this is a topic that I'll actually be speaking on at a conference coming up in Hollywood, Florida. And I talk about this all the time. It's like my signature topic. So, personal branding is very important for career growth, not just in business, but also to grow in your professional career as a nurse, right? Because you want to be seen as an expert, and personal branding does just that, right? It's how people perceive you so that they could promote you or hire you or give you business opportunities or do business with you because they need to be able to trust you. Okay, so that's number one is personal branding. So number two, I would say the most important thing before you start your business and also after is definitely building your authority in the nursing industry and in business, and also demonstrating your expertise. Okay. So shout out to Sarah. She says, I wish DMP programs taught more about branding. Yeah. So that's a great comment because I'm actually working on releasing a book that I'm working on specifically on personal branding. It's going to be called Nurses Making Business Moves, Personal Branding Edition, right? So look out for that. And I'm always creating content for nurses about personal branding. So thank you for bringing that up. And I see that you are a legal nurse consultant, which is important for your business, right? So number two, build your authority and demonstrate your expertise. So how can you do this, right? Before your business or after having a business? So one easy way is to speak at conferences, right? So if you're an early speaker, you may not be getting paid speaking engagements, right? Um, and you have to be strategic about which conferences you speak at, which workshops you speak at, things like that. Or if you're not getting opportunities, I would say create your own opportunities. So for me, I've created my own conference called the Nurses Making Money Moves Conference, which is now switched to Nurses Making Business Moves Conference. I myself am speaking next year, and I also spoke this past March on personal branding. So I created that event myself. I made that opportunity, right? So now I am seen as a thought leader, as a industry expert in business for nurses. And I just released that I'm going to have a course, Nurses Making Business Moves, at the University of West Georgia. Now, if that's not building authority, I don't know what is, because I don't know any nurse that can say that they have their own course that they have created, their own intellectual property that is being hosted at a university. Not that I know of, right? But so I'm super proud about that and excited. It's going to launch October 1st. I'll drop the comments in the comments later, the link, so you could check it out. It's going to be an 8-week course that talks about all about business, personal branding, all the stuff that I'm breaking down, right? So besides speaking, right? So like I said, create your own opportunities, look for opportunities at local events. So it doesn't necessarily have to be nursing events. You can get speaking opportunities at, let's say, women leadership conferences, maybe church events, local business type events. A lot of times they have expos and things like that. So definitely get out there and speak. That is one way to show your expertise. Okay. Number 2, I would say articles, not just LinkedIn articles, but you can actually have publications in actual journals or in other magazines, other types of articles. So I am a contributor for Minority Nurse. There's other things that you can do that could put you out there in terms of digital print or actual print. I also wrote an article for the Florida Nurses Association magazine, right? The Florida Nurse, about personal branding for 2025 for nurses, right? So get yourself in some nursing organizations, some print, right? I also wrote articles for Sigma International. Okay. I also was on their podcast for Sigma. So these are all ways that you could build your authority and demonstrate your expertise. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to create a digital footprint. All right. So for those that are watching, let me know if you have any questions, if you're having challenges with building your personal brand as a business owner, not quite sure what to do to create a digital footprint, right? Or maybe you have done some things, drop it in the comments and let me know what you've done to grow your business, right? So digital footprint. One easy way is to have a website. But let's say you're new at business, you don't necessarily have to have a website as soon as you open up your business. In fact, I recommend that you don't have a website right away. I would wait at least 6 months to a year to really understand what it is that you're doing in your business, so you have enough information, enough testimonials of clients you've worked with or whatever the case is, so you can actually display it on your website. Okay? But it is a great way to show credibility because people will check your credibility. They want to make sure you have a website that you're legit, because it's part of that trust building, right? Because people want to do business with people they trust. Okay. And of course, nurses are very trustworthy. So this is why we're great business owners. So don't think you have to do it all at once, but to create your digital footprint, obviously a website is a great way. If you don't have the money to do a website, what you could start with is an actual just landing page. So there are many, many, many things out there that you could use. Some are more expensive than others, but one quick one I'll share is MailChimp. I think it's like $13 a month. You could create landing pages from there. I believe you can even create your own website, if I'm not mistaken, on MailChimp. There's others like Kit. I recently joined Kit. Formerly was called ConvertKit. You could do landing pages, different things like that on there, right? So that's, like I said, one way. Also, back to the articles, you can actually create a newsletter on LinkedIn. And a newsletter is more important than writing an article on LinkedIn, because newsletters, people can actually subscribe to your newsletter. And when you establish your newsletter, it'll go directly into people's email, into their inbox. When you write an article on LinkedIn, that doesn't happen. So writing a newsletter through your website, so you can have one directly through your website, or you can have one also on LinkedIn. I think you should have both, because it's really important as a business owner that you start building your own email list. When I first started in business, I was like, what is an email list? Right? So literally it's a list of potential customers or customers. And of course, you have to get their consent. Typically, it's through what we call a lead magnet, or something that you're offering for free. You could be at a conference and you offer, let's say, a PDF or something, and they give you their email. And it's a way that you start collecting email so you can send them different information, update them on, let's say, different events that you have going on, so that you have their contact. Okay. So newsletters are great. Another way to create a digital footprint, one of my personal favorites, is starting a podcast or being on multiple podcasts. So I have my own podcast, obviously, called The Nursing Dose with Farah, which I'm currently streaming, right, live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And this information is evergreen, right? So it's constantly just there, especially YouTube. It's one of the biggest search engines. So if you're creating content on YouTube, so this later will live right on YouTube and it'll stay there. You can also take short form content from these long videos and create short form content, like short videos. And that is important as well, to create this digital footprint, because if you are in business, you want people to know about you. And the best way that they can learn more about you is showing up consistently on video or live, especially because now there's so much AI out there and people are questioning credibility, questioning if people are real, if their intentions are real, and are they really an expert, right? So if I'm showing up like this every week, and this week I'm going to show up a couple times this week, but typically I have been showing up live every week for the last 4 years, 1 to 3 times or 5 times a week. So you can't deny that expertise. I can't just sit up here and just make things up. It's either you know it or you don't. And it's live, right? So it shows and demonstrates your expertise. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about creating a digital footprint. When someone Googles you, they should be able to know who you are, know what you do, and see your work. So publications, articles, podcasts. Okay. So that is so important, because when people want to search to know, like, hey, should I work with this particular business, this consultant, or this coach, they're going to look for you. And how do they do that? Typically through Google. And obviously, everything's now intertwined with ChatGPT and all these other AI platforms. So creating a digital footprint will make you known in business because people need to know you. Because if they don't know you, they're not going to know you have a product or a service or a business. And I don't care what people say. Yes, there's like large businesses and companies where you don't know the face of the owner. I'm talking about these massive brands and companies, but that's different, right? They might have a brick and mortar, like they don't need to be online all the time. But that's because they probably have millions of dollars to spend on marketing and branding, right? We don't have that type of money. So we have to show up on social media for people to know about us and know our business, right? So that's number 3, is create a digital footprint. Okay. And then number 4, again, which is something that I've been doing for the last 4 years and that is so important, is to create social media content and social proof, right? So what do I mean by social proof? Show the people your expertise in terms of receipts or proof. So if I say that I'm a speaker on LinkedIn, but I don't have any photos of me speaking, I don't have videos of me speaking, I don't have testimonials of me speaking, right? That's not really social proof. So you need proof, right? If you exhibit at conferences, I would take photos. And this is why photography and videography is so important for you to invest if you are a business owner, right? Don't rely on somebody with their iPhone. Like, yeah, that's good too. But professional photos and videos go a long way, especially if you're trying to establish yourself as a professional speaker. Okay. I've done this. I've spoken in Nashville, all these places, and I tried to find local photographers or videographers so that I could hire, so I could have footage, right? Also, when I'm speaking at a conference, I will always ask the conference host if I can have the video content of me speaking so that I could repurpose that for my own content. And you can make video reels, speaking reels, so that you can get future speaking engagements and opportunities, right? And that is social proof. Another way that you can create social proof is through testimonials of past clients, right? So think about when you buy something or before you go to a restaurant or a hotel, people want to see reviews or testimonials. I can sit here all day and tell you how fabulous I am as a nurse career coach, how all my clients, land their dream job, how, I'm such a fabulous speaker, fabulous conference host, I'm an author, da da da. But if I don't have proof and no one is talking about their experience working with me, that might not be that believable, right? So that's that social proof, okay? And then creating content, of course. You want to create a mix of content. You want to create content that is educational, inspiring, and that really demonstrates, like I said, your expertise in what you do. So for me, one easy way that I've done this, and I've proven this over the last 4 years that I've been in business, is to show up every week and create content. Is it time consuming? Absolutely. But that is what separates me from the rest. There aren't very many nurses that are doing what I'm doing in terms of creating content, showing my expertise, showing up every week live, creating video and creating content for the last 4 years and being consistent. So one thing that I will tell you about creating content, consistency matters. If people see you continuously, they are going to think of you as the expert. You're going to be positioned for success because they're going to be like, I know Farah. She helps new graduate nurses land their dream role. So even if you don't want to work with me, you will now see me as the expert helping new nurses. And you will now refer me and say, hey, I know this nurse on LinkedIn. She's always showing up. Her name's Farah, Dr. Laurent. She helps new graduate nurses. You should probably check her out. And then they will go on Google or on LinkedIn type in my name and they'll see everything that pops up. They will see me in articles being featured, even on the Jennifer Hudson show, different media outlets. All these things will show up that will now equal credibility. And then they will say, hey, let me reach out to her for a consult because I've seen all this, right? And it makes the conversion easy. So in business, when we talk about conversion, people see you, they're like, hey, maybe I want to work with them. But if they see all your work, they see the proof, the receipts, the clients, they're going to be like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Like, that's the person I want to work with. So this is how you build your brand, your authority, your expertise, by creating content and creating social proof. All right. So another big thing is your story, right? So I share my story all the time about being a new graduate nurse. And I was told I'd never be an ER nurse. Didn't listen to that. Became an ER nurse. Did travel nursing in New York City. I left Canada, went there, and of course had some challenges with discrimination, bullying, smashed all that. Then when I was trying to get into education positions after getting my master's, I had a hard time because I wasn't managing my personal brand too well, and people didn't perceive me all the same way. So that held me back from advancing quickly. But after being told that I couldn't be an educator, right, I got 2 educator positions at NYU School of Nursing and became an educator at the bedside as well. Then I was told, hey, you don't have leadership experience. You can't be a leader. You were never a nurse manager. Smashed that, became a director of education, and then an associate dean of a university, right? And through all that, built my business still as a nurse career coach, as a speaker, as an author, and now a conference host. And now I'm creating digital products, have my course in university. So another big thing about entrepreneurship is the belief in yourself and your abilities, right? To keep going and that consistency. All right. Lastly, number 5, the most important thing I would say before you build your business and after is to continuously build strong relationships with intention, both online and also in person. So networking is crucial, right? Being of service to others, collaborating with others, and learning how you can help others grow in their career or grow in their business, networking at conferences. Hey, shout out to Luis. What's up? Yeah, growing your brand, growing your business, growing your career. You can't do it alone, right? You have to build strong relationships where you are also helping and making an impact, right? So that you can inspire others and also give back to the nursing community. And like I said, networking is going to open up doors that you never thought was possible. So you definitely have to believe in yourself, like I said, and networking is crucial. Okay. So really, if you are just joining, I invite you to please connect with me. If you are interested in starting a business or growing your own business, please direct message me. I will also leave all my links. I have, you can go to nursefarah.com where you can get my book, Nurses Making Money Moves, The Nurse's Guide to Starting a Business. You can check out the previous conference. And I don't have the next conference on the website yet, but I'll have that soon. It's happening March 6th and 7th in Tampa, Florida. And it's called the Nurses Making Business Moves Conference. I also have a mastermind, a business mastermind happening in Clearwater Beach in 2 weeks. I have 1 spot left. If you're interested in learning more about business and all the things I talked about today, please direct message me. I do have 1 spot. You can claim that spot. Come to Clearwater in person with me and other nurse entrepreneurs where you can learn how to start or grow your business. Okay. And then, like I said, check out my 8-week course that's going to be held at a university, the University of West Georgia. It's going to be an online course starting October 1st, and I'll drop that link as well. Nurses Making Business Moves course. And then for all my lovely senior nurses, new graduate nurses that are passing their NCLEX and looking for jobs, I've created a digital course called the New Nurse to Dream Role course. So let me know if you're interested in that. That's coming up soon. If you want early access, it's going to be available next week. And I also have a free training for all you nurses out there. So just direct message me. I know I said a lot. I hope this was helpful. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for coming through and supporting. And I will go live again tomorrow on a different topic. Again, this is Dr. Farah Laurent. Thank you for watching The Nursing Dose. Please subscribe on YouTube and subscribe to my newsletters on LinkedIn. And have a fabulous day. I'll talk